Howdy friends, Ben Cohen here from Small House Farm, and today we are going to be harvesting some eggplant seed. Harvesting eggplant seed is a pretty simple thing to do, but I'm going to share a couple tips and tricks with you just to help guarantee your success. Now, the first thing we want to do is make sure our eggplants are ripe. Eggplants, when we eat them normally, are actually underripe fruits. The most traditional eggplant that we're used to is the purple variety, right? Now, that species is Solanum melongena. And when we eat those fruits, they are very underripe. It gives a nice tender skin. It's a little less bitter that way, far more enjoyable. But to harvest seeds, to have success as a seed saver, we want to make sure that we leave these fruits to ripen all the way to the end of their life cycle, right? And these eggplants will get yellowish, kind of brownish. The skin gets thicker, a lot more bitter flavor. You definitely don't want to eat them, but they're going to be full of healthy, viable, mature seeds. That's when we want to collect them. Another thing to take note of, that if you want to harvest true to type seeds, now these are seeds that are going to reproduce the same plant that you collected them from, right? So let's say I grow a Black Beauty eggplant, and I want to harvest those seeds and grow Black Beauty eggplants next year. I have to make sure that my seeds stay true to type. To ensure that this happens, we have to avoid cross-pollination. Eggplants are a self-pollinating plant, sure, and that means that has a perfect flower, right? It has the male and female parts right on the flower. The pollen shedding and pollen receptive parts of the flower are all together. It's a hermaphrodite, if you will. But think about what a eggplant flower looks like. It's big, it's beautiful, it's open, and insects are going to get in there and they're going to cross-pollinate your eggplants. So there's a couple workarounds here. The easiest is to simply only grow one variety of eggplant. If you only grow the one variety, we don't have to worry about cross-pollination at all, and we know that our seeds will be true to type. If we need to grow a multitude of varieties, and we can't isolate them by the half a mile of physical distance required, we could bag the blossoms. That would help keep the insects out from bringing pollen from the wrong side of the tracks and cross-pollinating our eggplants. Or, what we like to do here at Small House, is to grow different species of eggplants. Now, the eggplant that we were talking of earlier, Solanum melongena, is a traditionally purple eggplant. Real beautiful, tasty, and very, very common. A number of varieties you can even find in your local grocery store. But we also like to grow the Cookstown orange eggplant. This eggplant's actually from Africa. Solanum aethiopicum. It's a different species than the traditional eggplant, which was actually domesticated in Asia, right? So knowing that two plants of different species are very unlikely to cross-pollinate, I can grow this eggplant, and then right next to it, I can grow an eggplant of the other species, have a lot of diversity in my garden, as well as at my dinner table, and lots of pure, true-to-type seeds to share with all of my friends. So now once we've covered that, now we just have to get into harvesting them, right? So we'll take our nice, ripe eggplants and extract the seeds. Now, as you can see in my fruits here, I've let them ripen to a nice orange color. This particular species of eggplant, when we eat it, is actually green. And as it ripens up, it gets color, turns this beautiful orange color. And I've let some of these specimens actually fully mature. And you can see they're kind of wrinkly and old, and this is going to guarantee even that much more good seed. So we're going to let these fruits sit around until they're nice and ripe before we harvest their seeds. When you cut an eggplant open, you'll notice that the seeds are all throughout the flesh. Now, we could take the time to pick these out by hand, but that would be a long and tedious process. So I'm going to show you a trick to help make the job that much easier. Now, for this trick, we only need a little bit of equipment. Of course, our ripe eggplants, ready to be extracted. Food processor. And this is the real trick here. And the key is we need to use the plastic dough blade. This is what's going to work to agitate our seeds to help get them out of the fruit. A little bit of water, small bucket, and I'm going to use a screen. Cutting board and a knife, I guess that's all we need. So let's get to work. We're going to take our fruits, and we're just going to kind of dice them up into chunks. All right? This is going to make them a little bit easier to work with. Once our eggplant's cut up into workable chunks, we'll just load them into our food processor. Add a little bit of water. Run them through. The plastic dough blade that we're using here, that's the key. If we were to use the sharp metal blade that we normally use with our food processor, the blade would catch onto that fruit and just spin it around. But with this dull plastic blade, what we're doing is we're agitating these pieces of fruit and this little bit of water, knocking all the seeds out. Now, as you can see, we've got a lot of seeds separated from our fruit, but we still got all the fruit in here too. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a screen that has holes large enough for the seed to fall through, but the gauge is small enough to hold the fruit back. I'm going to put it over top of our little bucket. We're going to pour our slurry into this. Now what's going to happen is all the seeds are going to fall through to the bottom, yet the fruit's going to be held up there, thus separating the seeds from the eggplant, helping getting our work done a little bit quicker. Now you can see there's still a few seeds lodged into the flesh of our eggplant here and floating about, but that's okay. We can just take these pieces of fruit back into our food processor and run them a second time. Now look at that. In just a matter of minutes, I've got hundreds of eggplant seeds already ready to go. So I'd filter these out, run them through another screen, a colander or something like that, and put them out onto a well-labeled paper plate to dry. We're going to leave our eggplant seeds out on this paper plate for about 7 to 10 days to finish drying. They're pretty wet, as you can see, so we'll probably put a little fan or something on there to increase the airflow, help dry them down a little bit quicker. Right? But after about 7 to 10 days, you'll see that your seeds are nice and dry, so we can package them up and we can label them. To package our seeds, we could use a small coin envelope, little Ziploc bag, mason jar, whatever it is you have handy. Go ahead and use that. Just make sure that you label it. Right? The year of the harvest, the name of the variety, the species. In this case, Solanamathiopicum, opicum, but in your traditional eggplant, like I said, Solana melangina. Whatever it may be, proper labeling is key to good seed saving. Now, this is a handy tip. This trick you can use for any eggplants, but I also use it for ground cherries, tomatillos, cherry tomatoes, any kind of small fruit with these little seeds that may be a little more difficult to work with by hand. Using your food processor is going to make that job so much easier. Hundreds of seeds ready to go in no time. For more tips and tricks on how to harvest seeds in your garden, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like it, share it with all of your friends, and check out my book, Saving Our Seeds, The Practice and Philosophy, for detailed instructions on how to save seeds from 43 species of crops. Thank you so much.